To begin the pre-production stage of my major work, I began to familiarize myself with various camera assistance technologies. This included the stabilization using a gimbal for DSLR and iPhone, and the tripod which held the DSLR in place and restricted shakiness and movement. First, I experimented with setting up the DSLR camera with the tripod. This was an easy process to overcome. Here I am seen experimenting setting up a DSLR camera to a gimbal. This was a tedious process to familiarize myself, as there were many aspects that needed to be considered, one being the weight distribution of the camera. This was a great challenge, as the camera itself needed to be stabilized, or the gimbal would go into sleep mode. However, I overcame this through watching various YouTube tutorials on the proper way to set up. I made sure to adhere to WH&S protocols in filming and equipment use to ensure the safety of myself and others, one being prohibiting the risk of dropping equipment. This was evidence of the production of my trailer in the museum and in the train station. For the locations of the meeting room, the gimbal was used as it was of close proximity to the school. However, for the range of exterior shots, I used the portable gimbal or just a DSLR camera. I began my post-production journey in After Effects, where I sequenced and ordered the trailer from the exposition to the conclusion. I made sure that while sequencing, that my trailer sustained its promotional and persuading nature. I experimented on the exposition where I attempted to lay out the shots in a tile format for an introduction, and transition them into the timeline through manipulating positioning and opacity. To crop each, I utilized linear wipe and changed the values for each axis. Here I am seen in After Effects adding a cool effect with time remapping, which allowed me to reverse and increase the speed of a shot. However, due to rendering issues which slowed my efficiency of completion, I had to transfer and redo all my work on Premiere Pro, which became my main software. Although this increased my time constraints, it was smoother and easier for this large demanding editing. I modified the exposition of the tile effect to a functional character introduction where each character has identifying colors and names. This is to establish differentiation between character roles, which is continually supported throughout all the aspects of and effects in the promotional package. The color grading is an example of this. For high action tension shots or key scenes, I color graded a shot according to the character. For Scarlet, I color graded red through color wheel and match, where I manipulated midtones, shadows, and highlights in Lumetri color. For all my meeting room shots, I realized that Premiere Pro increased the saturation and brightness of the shots to appear more wider. This was not my intention. Thus, as a solution, I color graded to a black and white. For the initial scene, I used the special effect leave color to leave the color red on the protagonist. I had to use the masking effect as it left red tones on the wrong sections of the video. This was a lengthy process as I had to deal with moving the mask with keyframes. Masking, keyframing, and color grading of each character was a special effect that had a high degree of difficulty. This was a tedious process as Premiere Pro was having difficulty handling the input of multiple layers. HUD display was completed on After Effects. I used 3D camera tracker to target a specific area of the subject's face. Through camera null and object, I conjoin the HUD elements with the layout and its positioning. Here I am captured tracking the laptop screen to replace it with an alternate screen. In my creation of a studio logo, I created smoke in the background through fractal noise and animated the text. I added a metallic light sweep and added a shutter matched with the sound of glass breaking. I felt as if my red title cards needed footage overlaid on top. On each, I used the blending option, soft light, and changed the opacity. I utilized Mixkit to attain royalty-free sound effects. Using a range of trailer-like non-diegetic sounds, I layered them all throughout the trailer. Some of them were too overpowering, thus I decreased the audio gain and volume level. To ensure a high degree of difficulty, I incorporated a range of camera movement transitions, audio layer manipulations, and more throughout every inch of my trailer. For my post-experimentation and testing, I experimented the layout of the posters on Photoshop and utilized Illustrator to create the background vectors. Here I am seen creating a shadow for the subject. This was after I've masked and removed the background of the original raw image. Through referencing various typographic layouts, I experimented with the colors and text layouts on the poster. For the escalated text, I manipulated the texture of the text through the bevel and emboss in layer style option, altering and testing the setting in the structure. Here is my prototyping and modeling of the actual subject. I similarly to the experiment added a mask to the raw background and added a shadow for a realistic effect. I further tested it by adding a filter to the entirety of the image through blending options, which allowed me to gain consistency with the major project. I modified the background through masking the skyline and utilizing a pen tool to blend the bottom of the image. I imported a spiral location vector I created from Illustrator and color matched it to the intended character. I also added a rough texture and a glitch to all the posters. In every subject, I added a drop shadow which correlated to their colour. I felt like the bottom of the posters lacked balance, so I provided a solution through masking images that would further differentiate each character. During storing and saving, I ran into a great challenge of my laptop scratch disk becoming full, which restricted me from further editing and exporting my 5 large file sizes. Thus, finding a solution, I altered my method of exporting and compression. I attempted the use of a hard drive and exporting in a smaller file size, which didn't work. After exhausting all my options, I utilized my precautionary image captures for professional printing. This would diminish the quality of the posters through increased pixelation in compression. In hopes it would print in PDF form, I attempted exporting again in PDF with the hard drive, and it worked. Here is AR technology used on my promotional poster, where Halo AR allowed me to place my trailer onto my promotional poster through a device. This is an extremely innovative way to promote, which successfully achieved my intent.